I, 33 am, used to think I was one of the lucky ones. Good job, solid friends, a wife, 32F, who I thought adored me, and a best friend who was like a brother. I never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these posts, but here we are. Let me set the stage a bit. My wife, Ellie, and I have been married for 7 years. We met through work, back when we were both grinding it out at the same marketing firm. She was smart, charming, and honestly, she had that it factor, the kind of presence that made a room stop. I fell hard and fast. We got married within 2 years. My best friend, Tyler, has been in my life since college. We were roommates for a while, traveled together, even started a side hustle once. It failed, miserably, but we laughed it off. He was the guy I trusted most outside my immediate family. Ellie and Tyler always got along, but in that friendly, harmless way, or so I thought. The first red flag came last summer, but I was too blind to see it. Tyler had just gotten out of a messy breakup, and he started hanging around more. At first I didn't mind. Breakups suck, and he needed support. But Ellie seemed a bit too invested in cheering him up. She'd invite him over for dinner even when I wasn't home. I'd walk in from work and find them laughing on the couch like it was the most natural thing in the world. No space between them. Sitting close. Wine glasses. I chalked it up to her just being kind. Looking back, I was naive. One night, Tyler stayed over after a late game night. I was tipsy, Ellie was tipsy, and Tyler claimed he was too drunk to drive. I set him up on the couch. No big deal. But in the middle of the night, I woke up alone. Ellie wasn't in bed. My heart sank. I don't know why, but something just didn't feel right. I went downstairs, and sure enough, there was Ellie. Not in the living room. In the kitchen. With Tyler. It wasn't anything physical, but they were sitting close, whispering, and stopped talking the moment I walked in. Couldn't sleep, she said. We were just talking. Tyler gave me a sheepish look and mumbled something about insomnia. I told Ellie to come back to bed. She hesitated for half a second before nodding. I let it go. Told myself I was overreacting. But I didn't forget it. A few weeks later, Ellie started being distant. We'd always been affectionate, spontaneous kisses, cuddles on the couch, inside jokes. That all faded. She started working late, going out for girls' nights more often, and she always seemed glued to her phone. Tyler was over a lot less, but when he was around, he avoided eye contact. Wouldn't meet my eyes. Never stayed late. It felt like something was off between us, like there was a weight neither of us wanted to acknowledge. Then came a night that broke everything. It was Ellie's birthday. I planned a surprise weekend getaway, cabin, wine, nature. She acted happy, grateful, even a little emotional. But the entire time, she was distracted, texting constantly, sneaking off to check work emails. At one point, she left her phone on the nightstand while showering. I don't make a habit of snooping, but my gut was screaming at me. So I looked. Biggest mistake. Or maybe the best decision I ever made. The messages weren't labeled. It was a saved number. But the text told the whole story. I miss your lips, already face-blowing a kiss. He doesn't suspect a thing. Can't wait to feel you again. I scrolled further. He wants to take me to a cabin for the weekend. I'll fake a migraine when we get back. And then, you're so much better than him in every way. I wish I met you first. My vision went blurry. My hands were shaking. I stared at the phone like it was a bomb about to go off. Because in a way, it was. I took a screenshot. Then another. Then another. Just in case. And then I saw the name at the bottom of the thread. Tyler. I didn't confront her that night. I couldn't. I felt like I was outside my own body, watching someone else's life fall apart. She came out of the shower, hair wrapped in a towel, humming like nothing was wrong, like she wasn't texting my best friend about how much she loved screwing him behind my back. I played along for the rest of the weekend, smiled, kissed her forehead, took cute pictures of us in front of the fireplace. Every second made me want to scream, but I needed time to think, time to plan. When we got home, I told her I had a big deadline coming up at work and needed to stay late all week. That gave me space to process everything without her hovering. During those fake overtime nights, I did my research. I spoke to a lawyer. Started copying financial documents. Made backups of all the texts, just in case she tried to delete the proof later. I even placed a hidden audio recorder in our bedroom, just to see if she'd try calling him when I was at work. She did. More than once. The recordings were nauseating. She told him she was being so patient waiting for me to screw up so she could leave without looking like the bad guy. That she hated pretending to be happy. That she'd dream about the day they'd go public. Tyler, of course, played the role of the romantic rebel. He promised he'd take care of her. Said he was looking at apartments. Even joked about how he'd always known she settled by marrying me. You know what hurt the most? It wasn't the betrayal. It was the contempt. They weren't just sneaking around. They were mocking me. Like I was some clueless idiot getting played. And I had been. 4 months. But no more. I decided I wasn't going to confront her right away. No dramatic screaming match. No teary how could you? I wanted her to feel safe, like she was still in control. Because that would make what came next so much more satisfying. I started dropping subtle comments. You've been texting a lot lately. Someone new on the team? She smiled sweetly. Just group chats. Nothing exciting. Lie. You should invite Tyler over sometime. Haven't seen him in forever. She tensed for a split second, then laughed. Maybe. He's been busy. Lie. Every time she lied, I smiled back. It drove her crazy. I could tell she sensed something was off, but she couldn't quite pin it down. Meanwhile, I was building a quiet case. I had the texts, the audio, and now I had something better. GPS logs from the car I bought her. Turns out she was visiting Tyler a lot more than I thought. They weren't being careful anymore. They thought I was blind. They thought I was weak. They were about to learn otherwise. I planned everything out over the next few weeks. The apartment lease was in her name, but I owned almost everything inside it. And since she was the one cheating, my lawyer said I had more leverage than I realized, especially since I could prove emotional damages, infidelity, and manipulation. I moved my valuables and personal stuff to a storage unit one day while she was at brunch with the girls, aka probably naked in Tyler's bed. I made it look like nothing had changed at home, but bit by bit, I was erasing myself from our shared life. Then, the night before it all came crashing down, I left her a note on the fridge. Going on a work retreat for 2 days. Won't have signal. Love you. She texted me back 3 minutes later. Have fun, babe, Redheart. I'll miss you, face blowing a kiss. Lying. Again. Effortlessly. But I didn't go on a retreat. I parked a block away from our apartment. Waited. Listened through the mic I'd planted under the bed. At 9:18 p.m., I heard the door open. At 9:22 p.m., I heard his voice. At 9:25 p.m., I heard the first moan. I sat there, alone in my car, fists clenched on the steering wheel, heart pounding. But I didn't storm in. That's what they'd expect. That's what they would have done. Instead, I called a lawyer. Execute it. Send everything. The next morning, Ellie woke up to a forwarded email to her job's HR with recordings and screenshots. Yep, she was cheating during work hours too. A formal notice that I'd frozen our joint account. An email from my lawyer requesting a formal separation and immediate meeting to discuss the divorce. And one last thing, a printed copy of the screenshots, sitting neatly on the kitchen counter, with a post-it on top that said, "You always said you wanted excitement. You're welcome." The fallout was nuclear. I didn't see her reaction firsthand. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of tears, begging, or excuses. But based on a rapid sequence of panic calls, voicemails, and messages that flooded my phone the next morning, I knew she'd opened the files. The first voicemail was calm, pretending to be confused. "Hey babe, I think there's some kind of mistake. Can you call me? Please." The second was shaken. "What did you send to my job? Why are our accounts locked? Call me right now." By the fifth message, she was in full meltdown. "I swear it wasn't serious. It didn't mean anything. Don't do this to us, please. We can fix this." Too late. That afternoon, I met with my lawyer. We reviewed the timeline, the evidence, and prepared everything for court, just in case she tried to play dirty. I wasn't looking for revenge, just clarity, closure, and a clean exit from the mess she made. But it wasn't over yet. That night, Tyler called me. I hadn't heard his voice in months. Not since the betrayal. I thought I might feel rage, but mostly, I felt nothing. Dude, he started, trying to sound calm. We need to talk. I laughed. Now you want to talk? There was a pause. Then he said something that genuinely stunned me. She told me you were abusive. I froze. Excuse me. She said you were controlling, that you manipulated her, that you threatened her if she ever left. That's why we started hooking up. She said you were dangerous. I swear, for a second, the world spun. Ellie had painted me as an abuser to justify the affair. I didn't even yell. I just calmly said, I got audio, Tyler, of you both. You were laughing about how I had no idea. He went silent. I hung up. That was the moment it hit me. Tyler was just as much a pawn as he was a player. Sure, he betrayed me. But Ellie, she used him too. She weaponized her charm, her fake tears, her victim act, all to make herself feel justified. And the best part, it was all crashing down. Over the next week, everything unraveled. Ellie's job suspended her pending investigation. Turns out the HR team took her relationship with Tyler, who was a client, very seriously. She called me sobbing, begging me to undo it. I didn't reply. Tyler, meanwhile, lost his girlfriend. She found out about Ellie after I sent her the evidence anonymously. She messaged me a thank you, by the way. And the cherry on top, Ellie was kicked out of the apartment. Not because I forced her. I gave her 30 days per the legal agreement. But after her reputation at work tanked, she couldn't afford the place without my income. She tried staying with Tyler. He didn't let her. Apparently, once the fantasy became real, he realized she wasn't worth it. Classic. One night, I got a handwritten letter from Ellie. She apologized, said she got lost, claimed she was confused and lonely and Tyler was a mistake. She blamed stress, blamed alcohol, blamed childhood trauma, blamed everything except herself. At the end, she wrote, I still believe we had something special. If there's any part of you that still loves me, please, let's talk. I burned the letter. Then I went out with friends for the first time in months. Ate wings, drank beer, laughed. It was the first time I felt like myself again. In the weeks that followed, I started to rebuild. Not just my finances and routine, my identity. I didn't even realize how much of myself I had lost until I got out of that mess. Ellie had this way of gently taking control over the years, deciding where we lived, what we bought, who we hung out with, even what I wore sometimes. At the time, I thought it was love, partnership. In hindsight, it was subtle control. I reconnected with old friends she didn't like. I started hitting the gym again, mostly to deal with the leftover anger. My phone was quiet, peaceful, no fights, no fake affection, no walking on eggshells. For once, silence felt good. But just when I thought I could finally move on, Ellie tried to drag me back in. She showed up at my new apartment. She was standing outside my building when I got back from work, hair a mess, sunglasses on, like she was trying to hide. She looked different, smaller, defeated. I didn't say a word, just stared at her. I just need 5 minutes, she whispered. Why? Because I miss you. I actually laughed. You miss me? Or do you just miss the version of me that let you lie, cheat, and manipulate while pretending everything was okay? Her jaw clenched. The fake tears were already forming. She tried again. I made a mistake. Tyler meant nothing. Then why were you planning a future with him? Silence. I opened the door. She tried to follow me in. Ellie, I said, calmly but firmly, if you don't leave, I'll call the police. She blinked like I'd slapped her. Then, like always, she flipped the script. You're really going to treat me like I'm trash? After everything we've been through? Yes, I said, because you treated me like I was disposable. And I shut the door in her face. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. 2 days later, I got a message from a mutual friend. Bro, check Tyler's Instagram. So I did. And what did I find? A selfie of Tyler, shirtless, smirking, captioned, sometimes you have to lose a friend to gain a queen crown #couple goals. There she was, Ellie, sitting on the edge of his couch, holding a wine glass, smirking at the camera like she won. I burst out laughing. It was actually pathetic how desperate they looked, like they were performing for an audience that didn't care. But I wasn't going to let them smear my name. So I made my own post. A photo of me holding a box of divorce papers with the caption, "Sometimes you have to lose a cheater to gain your life back. Victory hand #freedom #dodged a bullet." The comments blew up. People were messaging me, laughing at how tone-deaf Tyler's post was. Some mutuals unfollowed him. Others sent me screenshots of Ellie trying to justify herself in group chats, spinning the story to make me the villain. But the truth was already out, and it was eating them alive. I later heard from another mutual friend that Ellie and Tyler didn't last. Barely 2 months. Apparently, once the excitement faded, they started fighting all the time. Jealousy, trust issues. Tyler couldn't handle her flirting with other guys. Ellie accused him of being emotionally unavailable. In the most poetic twist imaginable, she cheated on him with one of his co-workers. When I found out, I just smiled. No need for revenge. She was her own worst enemy. By this point, I had cut off all contact with Ellie and Tyler. I blocked their numbers, unfollowed every mutual on social media, and stopped answering questions from the Curious Peanut Gallery. I wasn't interested in being the center of some soap opera. I just wanted peace. But the universe has a sense of humor. One afternoon, while grabbing coffee near my office, I bumped into Tyler's ex, the one he dumped right before Ellie. Her name was Rachel, and she looked amazing. We ended up chatting for 15 minutes. She told me how she'd moved on, started dating someone new, and had heard about Tyler's dramatic implosion. She even thanked me for the anonymous screenshots I'd sent her months ago. "I always had a gut feeling something was off," she said. "You just confirmed it." I wasn't trying to flirt. Honestly, I was still healing, but she gave me a smile as she left and said, "Let me know if you ever want to get drinks. Not a date, just mutual trauma support." I laughed. That's when I realized how far I'd come. I was laughing again. Meanwhile, Tyler and Ellie were living in chaos. According to one mutual who loved gossiping, Ellie tried moving in with Tyler after her lease ended. But his place was tiny, and his roommate wasn't having it. So she bounced around for a bit, couch surfing with friends, trying to get her old job back. They said no, and complaining online about how men never appreciate loyalty. Loyalty. From her. That one nearly made me spit out my drink. Tyler, on the other hand, was spiraling. His Instagram became a flood of gym selfies, motivational quotes, and passive-aggressive captions like, "Some people will never understand your grind. Keep pushing." Fake people show their colors when you stop serving their needs. I'd rather be hated for my truth than loved for my lies. Dude, you're the lie. They were both doing damage control, but no one was buying it. Their mutual friends stopped inviting them out. Word had spread. People knew what happened. And even if they didn't know the full story, they could sense the desperation leaking from every post, every inspirational rant, every staged selfie. I didn't have to do a thing. Karma was on autopilot. Then came the final twist. Ellie reached out to my sister. Not to apologize, not to make amends, but to ask for help getting a job. My sister is polite, but blunt. She texted me a screenshot of Ellie's message with the caption, "This chick really thinks I have amnesia." Apparently, Ellie tried to paint herself as misunderstood, said she was just following her heart, and claimed she regretted hurting me. What she really regretted was that Tyler couldn't financially support her like I did, that she tanked her job, her reputation, and her relationships for a fantasy that crumbled. She wanted my sister to help her network, maybe pass her resume along. My sister replied, "You slept with my brother's best friend. I think you'll be fine on your own." Brutal. Beautiful. At this point, I was thriving. Work was going great. I got a small promotion. I took a trip to Iceland, something Ellie always said was a waste of money. It was the most peaceful, soul-cleansing experience I'd had in years. I started dating again, slowly, carefully, no rushing, just learning how to trust again, not others, but myself. My gut, my instincts. That's what betrayal takes from you, your ability to believe your own intuition. But I was getting it back. One night, months later, I saw Tyler at a bar. He looked rough, thinner, jittery, alone. He spotted me. Walked over. I braced myself. "Hey, Mon," he said, almost sheepishly. "You look good." I sipped my drink. "Thanks." Awkward pause. He looked down. I just wanted to say, "I'm sorry. I screwed up." I didn't say anything. I should have never. I cut him off. "You didn't just screw up, Tyler. You destroyed years of friendship for something that didn't even last." "I know," he said quietly. "Good," I replied. "Now live with it." Then I turned my back to him and walked away. Felt better than any punch. Some people say revenge is a dish best served cold. But I disagree. The best revenge is indifference. No rage. No outbursts. No dramatic final scenes. Just living well. Quietly. Happily. Without the people who tried to break you. That's where I am now. It's been almost a year since everything went down. The divorce is finalized. Ellie didn't contest anything. She couldn't afford to. She walked away with next to nothing, and I walked away with peace of mind. I moved into a new place across town. Simple, modern, mine. No fake smiles, no passive-aggressive arguments about curtains or silverware or why I forgot to text back fast enough. Just silence, the good kind. I finally adopted a dog, too. A goofy rescue mutt named Hank. He snores like a tractor and has absolutely no understanding of personal space, but he's got a loyalty I never got from the people who claim to love me. Funny how that works. A few weeks ago, I got a wedding invite from an old college buddy. I almost didn't go, but I forced myself to. I'm glad I did. I ran into people I hadn't seen in years. People who'd only known me as Ellie's husband. Some of them had heard the story. Some hadn't, but they all said the same thing. "You look lighter. You look free. You look like yourself again." That stuck with me. Because I am. Do I ever think about Ellie? Sure. You don't just erase a marriage overnight. Sometimes I wonder what she's doing now. If she regrets it. If she still lies awake at night thinking about what she lost. But I don't miss her. I miss who I thought she was. There's a difference. Same goes for Tyler. We shared years of memories, vacations, birthdays, hangouts, late-night talks. But the guy I thought I knew wasn't real. He was someone who smiled to my face while planning to steal my life. I hope they both find whatever they were chasing. I really do, because I already found mine. Here's what I learned. Trust your gut. It's not being paranoid if you're right. Pay attention to how people act when they think you're not watching. Love isn't control. It's not secrecy. It's not manipulation disguised as care. And most importantly, sometimes, losing people is the best thing that can happen to you. Pain teaches. Betrayal teaches. But so does peace. And peace is finally what I have. So if you're reading this and you've been betrayed by a partner, a friend, someone you never thought would hurt you, know this. You're not weak for trusting. You're not stupid for loving. And you're not broken beyond repair. You're just getting started. Just like I did. Subscribe and give like this video.